Good evening for the final part of our session tonight. You know, it's sort of good to look out and you say, well, I know such and such gone and so's on vacation. And still we have a respectable number of folks here. And that's very good. Because when you have vacation time, things going on, some people are going to be gone. Just about any given service. We're so glad for each one of you that are here this evening. As far as our prayer list is concerned, we have 3 or 4 updates during the class period. The Lincoln family has encountered some travel delays, but Vita says she thinks they're finally out over the Atlantic Ocean about this time, on their way. We regret the delays they've had, and let's continue to pray for them that that'll be the end of the travel problem. They will have a smooth journey from here on. And also remember Jim Bradshaw and his brother, they will be traveling home tomorrow, is that right?
Jim is here.
They'll be in tomorrow. And Sherry Stevens continues to have serious issues. Please remember her in your prayers, along with Drew Holt. And I got word this week, some of you will remember Wayne and Barbara Durham. I got a note from Wayne today said Barbara has been placed on hospice now for about 3 months. She's struggling. We all know what that sort of indicates. Okay, on Friday at 10:30, you're invited to participate in a singing and Devo session at the Oakland Nursing Home. It's 10:30 this coming Friday. Then on Sunday evening, Care Group 1 is scheduled to meet in the activity building following the evening services. And a couple of weeks out yet, but on June 25, Dwayne and Carolyn Bledsaw are planning to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary, and also renew their vows. This will take place in the activity building from 2 to 4 p.m. on June 25. Our first prayer tonight been led by Steve Reed, and our closing prayer by Doug Earth. Chris Hunt will lead some song, and Kenneth Massey as our devout.
First song tonight is number 874. 874. Sing all 3 verses. 874. walking alone at even, viewing the skies afar, bidding the darkness come to welcome me, silver star. I have a great delight in the wonderful scenes above. God in His power and might, showing His truth and love. Oh, for a home with God, a place in His courts to rest, sure and safe abode with Jesus and the blessed. Rest for a weary soul, once redeemed by the Savior's love, where I'll be pure and whole and live with my God above. Sitting alone at even, dreaming the hours away, watching the shadows falling, now at the close of day. God in His mercy comes with His word, He is drawing near, spreading His love and truth around me and everywhere. Oh, for a home with God, a place in His courts to rest, sure and safe abode with Jesus and the blessed. Rest for a weary soul, once redeemed by the Savior's love, where I'll be pure and whole and live with my God above. Closing my eyes at eve and thinking of heaven's grace, longing to see my Lord, yes, meeting Him face to face, trusting Him as my all, wheresoever my footsteps roam, pleading with Him to guide me on to the Spirit's home. Oh, for a home with God, a place in His courts to rest, sure in the safe abode with Jesus and the blessed. Rest for a weary soul, once redeemed by the Savior's love, where I'll be pure and whole and live with my God above.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we love you. We thank you this day. We thank you for your blessings. Father, as we enter this worship service, or finish this worship service, I pray that we'll continue to focus our minds on you, word, the things that we are doing. Father, we pray that you be with those who are traveling, those who are not here this evening. Father, be with our country, those who are in leadership positions, those soldiers who are fighting on our behalf, and doing things on our behalf. Father, we pray for their safety. We pray for the decisions that they make. And Father, we also pray that if it be your will, that they will demonstrate things that are precious to you, that they will be an example on their way, that you bring them home when it is their time. Father, there are many on our prayer list, and we want to remember them. We want you to continue to be with them. It's comfort for the families, or whatever it may be, whatever else it may be. Pray that you would be with them. And if it be your will, that you would heal them and bring them back to their health. And Father, as we leave this place tonight, I pray that you go with us, that we
you will turn and mark your song books to number 915. That'll be our song after the Devo. It'll also be our closing song, number 915. Our song before the Devo this evening will be number 878. 878. There's a land that is fairer than day, and by faith we can see it afar. For the Father waits over the way to prepare us a dwelling place there in the sweet by and by. We shall be on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. We shall be on that beautiful shore to our bountiful Father above. We will offer our tribute of praise for the glorious gift of His love and the blessings that hallow our days in the sweet by and by. We shall be on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. We shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Good evening. Somebody asked on the video, you have a long Devo tonight? I said, no, it's going to be short. And they said, no, short and sweet. I said, well, it's going to be short. So Father's Day is coming up on Sunday, right? I have my dates right. Right, Father's Day Sunday. And Father's Day is something that I look forward to. I love being a dad. My son is something. He's a mess. And so, as usual, I'm drawing my inspiration for my Devo tonight from him, something he said recently. Our story tonight begins at a certain local barbecue place. We were cleaning up one night, and he has an aunt that is particularly notorious for giving him sweets, Carly. And so they were in the back cleaning up a little bit, and she said she offered, or maybe she offered him, maybe he asked, I don't know, it doesn't matter, for one of the fried pies. Have you had the fried pies yet? They are unbelievable. But anyway, he wanted a fried pie, and Carly said, I don't know that Mommy and Daddy will want me to be giving you all this sugar. And he said, well, let's just eat it back here so Mommy and Daddy don't see it. Which is funny, except that's not the only time this has happened. Just the other day, I let him stay at Joni's for a little while. And she gave him a Tootsie Roll, and then another Tootsie Roll, and then a Starburst, and then something else. And she said something along the same lines. I don't think that I should be giving you all this sugar. And he said, he looked out the window and said, it's okay, Daddy's not coming to get me yet. It's funny to you guys. I have a problem with my hands, but little kids are very. It's interesting to see their take on what their parents can see. As they get older, they get better and better at hide and seek. But when they're young, they cover their eyes like this. You know, they'll get behind the chair and do like this. And sometimes they'll say, "Come find me." I mean, you know, like they don't, like you don't know they're there. They don't realize that. And tonight we're going to talk about that a little bit. So everybody turn with me to Joshua chapter 7. That's going to be our text for tonight's lesson. I'm sure it's a very, very familiar passage, but we're going to consider something a little different about it tonight, maybe. Just for a little bit of context, in Joshua 6, this is the part of the Old Testament where the Israelites have taken the city of Jericho. Jericho was the first city that the Israelites take after they cross the Jordan. And God, if you remember, God told them to march around the city 6 times, and then on the 7th time to yell and blow your trumpets, and the walls will fall down, and you can take the city. Right? And that's what happened. And God had one specific commandment for them. He said, everything in the city is to be destroyed, except for the precious materials such as gold and silver. I think they mentioned iron and bronze. Those are the Lord's, is what God said. So let's put ourselves in the position of these Israelites. At this point, you have to think they're feeling pretty good about themselves, right? They've came through this long wilderness trek, and they're entering the Promised Land, and they see this city with these giant walls. And God tells them it's going to be okay. We're going to take this city. And they do exactly what God says, and they rush in, and everything goes according to plan, right? You might think that Joshua probably was thinking, hey, this is going pretty well, and he may have even thought, hey, all these other people around have seen the way we did to Jericho. This might be a pretty easy path here. He probably imagined that his army was confident, ready for battle. So he called together his spies, and he tells them to scope out the next city, kind of like they did the first city. They were going to attack the city of Ai. Is that correct? How to pronounce it? Ai. The spies came back and said, hey, this is going to be a breeze. This is going to be easy. There's not very many people there. We don't even need the whole army. Let's just take a little bit of the army. Let's read Joshua 7, starting in verse 2. I'll just read it here. Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is near Beth-Aven, east of Bethel, and said to them, go up and spy out the land. And the men went up and spied out Ai, and they returned to Joshua and said to him, do not have all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 go up and attack Ai. Do not make the whole people toil up there, for they are few. So about 3,000 men went up there from the people, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai killed about 36 of their men, and chased them before the gate as far as Shebarim, and struck them at the descent. And the hearts of the people melted and became as water. So to summarize that, Joshua sent these 3,000 men to take Ai because it wasn't going to be a big deal. There weren't very many people there, and they came running back. As they say proverbially, with their tails between their legs. They were retreating. And not only that, 36 men were killed during the retreat. And sometimes, especially like the first time I read through this passage, I was thinking, 36, that's not very many people. 36 out of 3,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but as far as I know, and somebody correct me on this if I'm wrong, please, but as far as I know, this is the only instance in the book of Joshua where any Israelites were mentioned to be killed. So, not only were 36 men killed, but they were killed as their army retreated, which is probably wasn't good for their morale. They probably were feeling a little bit down at this point, and it actually says in verse 5, it says, the hearts of the people melted and became as water. So the main focus of our lesson is what happens next. So Joshua comes to God. He's troubled, and he finds out that something had been taken from the city of Jericho and had been hidden. And after they cast lots, God commanded them to cast lots to find out who it was, and they brought him forward by clan and tribe and family until they narrowed it down to this one man, Achan. And to come to find out, Achan had taken some of these devoted things, some gold, silver, I believe, garment. He had taken some of these things that God specifically commanded them not to take. He took them for himself, and he hid them in his tent. And as a result of that sin, at the end of chapter 7, all of Israel stoned Achan and his whole family and his whole household and all his stuff. They burned it and piled stones up on top of it. A lot of times if you hear a lesson taught about this, and this would be an easy path to take, is that we can't hide our sin from God. We all know that, right? We can't hide anything from God. Someday there's going to be a judgment, and everything that we've done, even if we're good at hiding it from people, we hide it from everyone. Someday it's going to come to light. But I want us to think about a little bit of a different angle, though. My question for you tonight is, who else was affected by Achan's greed? Of course, Achan was affected. The entire nation of Israel was affected. Think about the families of the 36 people that were killed during their retreat from the city of Ai. 36 different families were mourning the loss of their loved one, and Achan was to blame for that. Specifically, though, I want us to focus on his family. Achan's family was affected. As fathers, speaking to the fathers, we feel responsible for our family's well-being. We try to provide for our children. We want the best for our family. We try to give them everything that they need, everything that they want. We see from this story that Achan's family was affected by his sin. A good example of this is children are like sponges. People say children are like sponges. They'll soak up everything they see and everything they hear, and that's true. That is very true. I've experienced that. That is very true. It is so important for us to emulate Christ, not just fathers. I say fathers because Achan was the one in this story, but it is so important for us to emulate Christ, to be like Christ, so that's what our children see, instead of bad habits that we may have, different things like that. So it's important for us to be like Christ so that our children see Him reflected in us. That's the angle I wanted to take tonight, because it's about to be Father's Day. That's what I was thinking about when I wrote this. So short, hopefully you got something out of it. As we always do, if there's any need of anyone, if you need the prayers of the church, if you need to come forward and give your life to Christ, please do so as we stand and as we sing.
If we walk with the Lord in the light of His Word,